Hello, beta. Good evening, everyone. So, the topic that I wanted to take for today is correlation and regression. ये दोनों topic एक साथ ही exam में आ सकते हैं. We will go ahead and we will take them together only. Now, the syllabus just goes ahead and mentions simple regression, and a lot of you have already asked me whether you should go ahead and you should do मल्टीपल रिग्रेशन और नॉट, क्या इकोनोमेट्रिक्स का कितना पार्ट करना जरूरी है. सो it's a very less chance that very high level of econometrics will be coming in exam because they don't mention so. What they mention is simple regression function. तो simple regression function should ideally go ahead and mean कि एक two variable regression function से related questions पूछे. I have tried to cover those today in this session. आज के session में wall apart I will cover thoroughly. But other than that, I think that when we talk about simple regression function, sometimes its assumption becomes important. माने, at any point of time, अगर मैंने जैसे ही एक regression function लिखा, the moment I write y is equal to beta 1 plus beta 2x, in the background, I must be aware about at least the assumptions, CLRM assumptions of this model. I must be aware about the minimum things. मतलब मुझे at least इतना तो पता होना चाहिए कि there should be no multicollinearity, no heteroscedasticity, no autocorrelation. I should be aware about these basic things anyways, है ना? तो although I am expecting कि जो हम आज के लेक्चर में कर रहे हैं, questions should only be based out of those. उससे ऊपर नहीं आना चाहिए पेपर में. Still, जो भी मेरे को एक्सपेक्टेड क्वेश्चंस थे, whatever I thought other than this could have been asked in exam, I have gone ahead and I have included them as part of mock paper. तो mock paper से ऊपर तो पक्का कुछ नहीं आएगा एग्जाम में, right? And जितना वहां explained है that is sufficient. And other than that, जो हम आज कर रहे हैं in correlation, that is what you can go ahead and focus on. Now, all of us are well aware about what correlation is. हम सबको पता है correlation की definition क्या होती है, correlation किसे बोला जाता है. And correlation basically it is finding out the relationship between two variables, है ना? So for example, if I want to go ahead and I want to know that do height and weight move in the same direction or opposite direction? जब height बढ़ेगी तो weight बढ़ेगा, या height बढ़ेगी और weight घटेगा, weight will fall. So when I want to go ahead and I want to understand the relationship between two or more variables, that is called as correlation. In this case, one thing that we need to pay a bit attention to is that correlation में हम degree बता सकते हैं. We can go ahead and we can tell about the degree also in correlation. जैसे for example, I can tell you whether two things are very highly correlated or whether they are not correlated or they are low correlated. So I can not only tell whether they are correlated or not, but I can also talk about the degree of correlation. मैं degree भी बता सकती हूँ, right? So you need to understand that whenever we talk about correlation, correlation is also associated with degree. इस बात को समझना पहले बहुत बहुत जरूरी है, right बेटा? So please try to understand here. Somewhere here I have mentioned, it is to study the degree and direction of relationship between two variables, right? Now, when I talk about direction का क्या मतलब है? That I can tell whether two things are positively correlated or negatively correlated or not correlated. So I can also go ahead and tell the direction, and I can also go ahead and tell the degree. This is a common statement that can be asked in exam. तो ये statement आपको बहुत ध्यान से याद रखनी, right बेटा? Now there are various uses of correlation. I am leaving it up to you. Please read them once. I want to focus on the type of correlation. So correlation can be, पहला basis हो सकता है, it can be positive versus negative. So for example, height and weight is assumed to go ahead and follow a positive correlation, which means that if height will increase, weight will increase. ऐसा हम assume करते हैं. So this means that they have a positive correlationship between them. Similarly, Beta, negative correlation is like when price of the good increases, demand decreases and vice versa. तो ये हो गया हमारा negative correlation, right? And zero correlation can mean when two things are not correlated at all. Just for example, raining outside and the marks I will score in exam may not be related. ठीक है? So two very random variable. अगर मैं कोई एकदम random variable ले लूं, then there may be a zero correlation also. Here, I want to focus on one more very important thing. बेटा जब भी हम कोरिलेशन की बात करते हैं, कोरिलेशन always implies a linear correlation. कोरिलेशन का मतलब लीनियर कोरिलेशन ही होता है सर, right? So for example, if you get an exam that y is equal to x square, then the correlation coefficient between them will be, and then they give you some option 1, -1, 0.5, 0. So try to understand that whenever we talk about correlation, जब भी हम correlation की बात करेंगे, it will always be a linear correlation. So beta, what should be the answer to this? Y is equal to x square. क्या correlation हो जाएगा इसका? Correct. Absolutely. The answer will be 0. So this is the first kind of correlation. अब सेकंड आ जाता है when we talk about simple, partial and multiple. Simple means this. So when I write simple correlation, which is in our syllabus, it means y is equal to beta 1 plus beta 2 x. This kind of relation, right? So I am only trying to understand the relationship between two variables. One is an independent variable and one is a dependent variable. राइट तो अगर मुझे सिर्फ इंडिपेंडेंट और डिपेंडेंट वेरिएबल के बीच में रिलेशन देखना है, देन इट विल बी अ सिंपल रिलेशन दैट आई विल बी चेकिंग. हाँ, सो बेटा इट इज 0 बिकॉज दिस इज y इज इक्वल टू x स्क्वायर. दिस इज नॉट अ लीनियर रिलेशन ना, यहाँ पे स्क्वायर आ गया पावर में. सो इट कैन ओनली डिटेक्ट लीनियर रिलेशनशिप्स. सो whenever you will see any power here, so answer will be 0. That is why the answer is 0. ठीक है? Now, बेटा when I talk about simple correlation, तो simple का मतलब ये है that you have one independent variable and one dependent variable. सिर्फ एक variables हैं, right? Multiple means you have more than one independent variable. So for example, if I tell you that, I am telling you that demand is a function of price, तो ये हो गया simple. When I tell you demand is a function of price, but it is also a function of income, it is also a function of taste and preferences, this is multiple. Demand depends on multiple things, price, income, taste, etc. Right? थोड़ा सा इसमें देखो, कोरिलेशन पे फोकस करते हैं वापस. When I tell you how much y is getting affected by x, when I find the correlation between y and x, दो ही variable involved है, then it will be simple. When I will find out how these variables together will affect this variable, then it will be called multiple. And when I will find out how this will affect this variable, कैसे price demand को affect करेगा, holding other factors constant, holding income, taste constant, तो जो relation निकलेगा, it will be called as partial correlation. So we can discriminate and say that there are three kind of correlation. हाँ बेटा, मतलब अभी तो रिग्रेशन की ही बात कर रही हूँ, मेरे को बस यहाँ से आपको कॉन्सेप्ट क्लियर करना है कि सिंपल, मल्टीपल और पार्शियल क्या होता है. दैट्स इट. सो आई एम राइटिंग अ रिग्रेशन इक्वेशन ओनली, बट आई जस्ट वांट टू क्लियर व्हाट आर द थ्री डेफिनेशंस. तो सिंपल कोरिलेशन इज व्हेन you just have one independent variable and you have one dependent variable. तब हम simple regression कर रहे हैं and it is a simple correlation also. When I have multiple independent variables and they are affecting one dependent variable, तो multiple correlation हो गया. But question ये है कि within this what is partial correlation? तो partial में it is a multiple model only, but हम analyze सिर्फ एक variable के साथ करेंगे, holding other variables constant. All other variables will be constant. तो partial में we will say कि okay, how is demand and price related, but dot income and taste, मतलब holding income and taste constant. So it is a part of multiple, but you hold all other factors constant. एक बारी में एक ही factor ले रहे हो. If you take all factors together, तो multiple, and if you only had one factor, तो simple. So this is what is explained here. Mostly students are confused between partial and multiple. Partial happens only when you have multiple variables, but partial में हम relation सिर्फ दो variable के बीच में देखेंगे, holding other factors constant. तो try to see this thing. Simple में example हो गया बच्चे, the relation between marks and attendance of student. Partial में example हो गया, the relation between marks and attendance holding effective teaching constant, use of teaching constant, smart board constant, etc. और multiple में हो गया, relationship between marks and attendance, effectiveness of teacher, use of teaching, etc. So here I will have more than two variables. यहाँ पे more than two तो होंगे, but at a time only taking two variables. And here I will only have two variables. Right? Now, as I have told you that whenever we will be talking about the correlation, it is always a linear correlation. हम हमेशा linear correlation की ही बात करेंगे. Non-linear correlation में हमारा जो आंसर आएगा R square का, that will be 0. But these are some examples. All of you will go through these examples. Price of commodity and demand, negative correlation. Price of yield and amount of rainfall, positive correlation, so on and so forth. Now, here is the most important thing. Try to see. We want to understand how to measure correlation. Correlation को कैसे हम measure कर सकते हैं? The first method that can be applied is called as a graphical method. And the second method that can be applied, beta, it is called as algebraic method. Within algebraic method, we need to learn these methods. First of all, we want to learn Carl Pearson's method. Second, we want to learn rank correlation method. And third, मैं आपको बस regression से थोड़ा दिखा दूंगी. So we want to learn method of least square. So we will go ahead and we will see all these three cases. ठीक है. Now let's start with the graphical method. Graphical method में simply we want to make a scatter diagram, and using the scatter diagram we want to go ahead and see कि correlation क्या निकल के आ रहा है. So try to see this. If you see a line in the scatter diagram, एक single line आ रही है अगर scatter diagram में, which is positively sloped, then we have perfect positive correlation. If you see a line which is downward sloping, then beta we have perfect negative correlation. If you go ahead and see something like this, मतलब बहुत close है एक दूसरे के, but it's not a line. They are close to each other, upward sloping, but they are not in one line. So high positive correlation. Close to each other, but not a line, downward sloping line type बन रहा है, तो high negative correlation. Now, अगर ऐसा कुछ लिखे, they are very scattered, बहुत ज़्यादा दूर दूर तक फैले हुए हैं, very scattered, तो low positive correlation. Here, low negative correlation, downward sloping चल रहे हैं. And if you see something like this, then no correlation. test for all of you. So you are given an exam. Which of the following have no correlation? ठीक है बेटा. Option number A, X, Y. Option number B, X, Y. Option number C, option number D, which of the following have no correlation? What do you think will be the answer to this question? Okay, C. Anyone else? C. Okay. Acha, what if I tell you there are multiple correct answers to this question? Then beta B, C, D. All of them, तीनों में ही there is no correlation available, right? There is no correlation in all three of them. Why? Because देखो ये जो डायग्राम है ये पैराबोला है. This is y is equal to x square. This is a relation which represents a parabola. It's not a linear relationship. ऐसे ही this is representing a parabola. ये इसका invert ही तो है. This is also representing a parabola. This is representing a circle. Circle ko to anyways I know the equation x minus a square plus y minus b square is equal to radius square. None of them is linear relationship, right? So anyways, this and this, तीनों में ही correlation zero आएगा. All three of them will have zero correlation. Correct. Right? So the answer to this will be B, C, and D, except one. One में I can see that there is an upward sloping kind of relationship. इसे छोड़कर बाकी सब में answer will be zero correlation. Okay, beta. So let's go to the next question now. Okay. So this is given to you. हर एक में you just have to go ahead and check the correlation. ऊपर से बस एक बारी देख लो. This seems to be an upward sloping correlation. उल्टा होगा तो it will be a downward sloping correlation. Now, let us go to the formula of Carl Pearson's correlation coefficient. These are all the formulas that you have to remember. सारे के सारे formulas हमें याद रखने हैं. The first important Carl Pearson formula, it says covariance of xy upon sigma x sigma y. ठीक है बेटा. बेटा कोवेरियंस होता है समेशन एक्स आई माइनस एक्स बार वाई आई माइनस वाई बार बाय एन, और सिग्मा एक्स इज नथिंग बट द स्टैंडर्ड डिविएशन. सो समेशन एक्स आई माइनस एक्स बार होल स्क्वायर बाय एन अंडर रूट, और सिग्मा वाई हो जाएगा समेशन वाई आई माइनस वाई बार होल स्क्वायर बाय एन अंडर रूट. तो n तो हम कॉमन ले लेंगे डिनोमिनेटर में से. रूट एन यहाँ है, रूट एन यहाँ है. सो रूट एन इंटू रूट एन इज n. सो आई कैन राइट दिस एज समेशन एक्स आई माइनस एक्स बार वाई आई माइनस वाई बार बाय n अपॉन समेशन एक्स आई माइनस एक्स बार होल स्क्वायर वाई आई माइनस वाई बार होल स्क्वायर अंडर रूट बाय n. n and n will cancel out. Summation xi minus x bar yi minus y bar by summation xi minus x bar whole square yi minus y bar whole square under root. This is the other formula. ये देखो यहाँ पे. So एक formula है covariance of xy by sigma x sigma y. इसी से ही अगर मैं इसको if I just write this one as small xi because this is deviation from mean, small yi, small xi square under root, small yi square under root. So what I will be getting is this formula. Next formula आ जाएगा. Right? X and y are deviations from mean. Similarly, you will get this formula also. अगर n and n को cancel out नहीं करोगे तो you will get this formula also. So all these formulas are different versions of this formula only. So just remember all of them. Remember this one also, this one also. सारे के सारे formulas you need to remember. In exam, use करने के लिए most probably we will get this one only. But still we need to go ahead and keep all of them in mind. Okay. Now let me go ahead with a homework question. Everyone will do this today. Homework question. Let me take one question as of now, which is this. Mostly in MCQ kind of paper, इस तरीके का question ज़्यादा आने के chances हैं. Try to read this question and do this yourself also. So this is saying coefficient of correlation between X and Y is given to you as 0.3. मतलब R is already given to you as 0.3. Their covariance is 9. So covariance between X and Y 9 दिया हुआ है बेटा. And the variance of X is 16. तो standard deviation of X क्या हो जाएगा? 4. Under root of variance. Find the standard deviation of Y. So just use the formula that R will be covariance XY by sigma X into sigma Y. R का value is given to us as 0.3 and covariance is 9 and beta sigma X है 4 into sigma Y. So this will be 3 by 10. This will be 3. So sigma Y will be 4 by 10 into 1 by. Sigma Y को यहीं से निकाल लेते हैं. So it will be 30 by 4. That will be the answer to this question 7.5. So this means that you just have to do a simple application of this formula and you have to get the answer to this kind of question. Okay. Beta, you have to, जितने भी question इस paper में दिए हुए हैं आज की sheet में, you need to do all questions, but you can skip question number 8. I don't think a continuous series will come in exam. Just skip this. Okay. Now, sometimes in the question, you need to go ahead and interpret कि क्या relation positive है या negative है, और if it is positive or negative, तो is it strong or weak? Different books have different rules. I want you to verify this, but the Indian authors, they say that anything between 0.7 to 1, इसको मानेंगे हम strong positive correlation. 1 is of course perfect positive correlation. Between 0.3 to 0.7, you have weak positive correlation. And less than 0.3, then you have very low correlation. Right? So it is assumed through books that if it is more than 0.7, तब हम उसे strong positive correlation मानेंगे, and between 0.3 to 0.7, weak positive correlation. So sometimes when you are given a value, जैसे अगर मेरा R आ गया 0.2052, so I can simply say that this is a very low degree of positive correlation. Right, beta? So this is the first formula. सबसे पहले हमें ये Spearman correlation का formula अच्छे से आना चाहिए. Now, the second thing that can be asked in exam is rank correlation. So rank correlation में again बेटा formula wise हमें दोनों चीजें याद रखनी है. One rank correlation is when ranks are different, right? And second rank correlation तब हो जाती है when ranks are same. Different ranks का ये मतलब है that whenever we talk about the ranks given by any judge, then we should not see the same rank to any two candidates. मतलब अगर मेरे पास 10 candidates हैं, candidate A, B, C, D, E, F ऐसे करके, the judge should not give the same rank to two candidates. अगर इसको 1 दिया, इसको 2 दिया, तो इसको he should also not be allotted the same rank, right? Each of them has a different rank. If that is the case, अगर किसी को भी same marks नहीं मिल रहे हैं, so for example, I need to score these candidates on out of 10. तो मैंने I gave him 10, I gave him 8, 7, 4, 3, 9. All of them have got different marks. किसी के भी marks same नहीं है. So I can easily know that okay, इसको first rank मिल जाएगी. He has got the highest marks. Second rank, third rank, fourth rank, fifth rank, sixth rank. Everybody is getting a different rank. If that is the case, अगर सबको अलग अलग rank मिल रही है, then this will be the formula. Right?